Welcome everybody. John Zager, how y'all doing? It's a nice day starting off. Clear sky. Was supposed to rain and get cold last night. And sort of think about wintry, but never really happened. Got down to, well, I guess it's 32, but it's really nice outside. I don't know what happened. So I just wanted to do a short little YouTube on where we came from. You know, where we came from and how it happened, and just stuff that we kind of knew, but maybe a refresher. Relates a little bit to I guess law of attraction and why the law of attraction just doesn't really work for everybody. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit as well. So, where we come from is a result of several different things. Way back when, during conception, we have mom and dad, and we have DNA. And the DNA that is occurring is part of who we are today. Simple things. I mean, it's not like rocket science, but the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, the color of the pigmentation of your skin, stuff like that. Your personality isn't really defined by the DNA back during conception. There are some emotional things that do carry over and come out as you become a child and eventually an adult. Second, when you're in your mom's third trimester, some of her personality, some of her dynamics, some of her emotions, some of the ways that she thinks and feels can be passed on. Not 100%, but you can get traits of that sort of thing during your mother's third trimester. You're born. For 7 years, you are being hypnotized. Mostly by mom and dad. Of course, that's who you're around. We're just looking at a regular family, mom and dad and kids and whatever. And the adults in your family, which would be your mom and dad, conveyed to you verbally or through modeling what life is all about. Here's one example, and it would be overwhelming to think in terms of trying to break it down to the depth that we could actually go. Here's one example. Your mother's diabetic. Class 2, diabetic, and doesn't understand why she's diabetic. Well, my mother was diabetic. That's why I'm diabetic. And she suffered and suffered and suffered and had to go to the doctor, and I have to go to the doctor, and it's just awful. And I don't like the doctor, and They want to offer me all this medication and treatment and procedures, and I'm going to have it for the rest of my life, and, just stuff like that. So, that gets carried over to you, which is an attitude about doctors, medicine, sickness, disease. It can either be a positive experience or a negative experience. In this particular example, that leaves kind of a negative impression to you as a child about you're going to get sick, you're probably going to be diabetic, you're going to hate the doctor, you're probably going to have to go through various procedures and whatnot of treatment. And that's what disease is about. That's what illness is about. That's what sickness is about. And it generalizes out into your reality. Generalizes out into your reality. So we pick up traits in our personality based on that example, for instance, we just gave you, and there's, of course, a multitude of examples that, generalize out into traits which start making up our personality. Our personality also is formed, by age 7, pretty much, we have that established, and the personality that you have from 0 to 7, that's getting more and more refined, is going to stick with you. That's who your personality is going to be when you get to be a young adult, an elderly person. That's where some of that all comes from. You kind of wonder, you're like a sponge, and you're just absorbing everything that adults are pretty much conveying to you, good, bad, or indifferent. And that starts forming your reality to you. Here's how would I put this? I'm going to throw this in. We're just going to make this a short little YouTube, but I'm going to throw this in that that's what happens, let's say, in your childhood. And it formulates your reality and your personality. And it starts building on those two things. And it just becomes more and more refined as you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it starts getting anchored. But here's a little caveat to the whole thing. Sometimes, once we get past 7 and we get a little bit older, we start exaggerating what our childhood was like. We might even lie a little bit about how we viewed our childhood. And Mom was awful about her illnesses and sicknesses and flu and colds and, just hating doctors and, Your, your dad might actually resent wealthy people, um, because of their position. They might make a little bit more money than maybe he might, based on his position. And we start getting all of that stuff misconstrued, and it ends up not being truthful. So we, in turn, visualize, assimilate, believe that's who we are. And now what we learned from 0 to 7 starts getting altered even more. And it's important for us, when we get to things like personal growth, and learning things of that nature, the law of attraction, we find out that it doesn't really work, all the time or any of the time. Not because of what we experienced, were taught and modeled from conception all the way to age 7, but rather we may have exaggerated in our own heads or lied to ourselves about what occurred and who we really are and who our parents really are and how they really acted or didn't act. And did your dad really have that attitude towards wealthy people? Maybe you just had a really nice middle-class family. Mom and dad worked and you had a nice home, and you weren't living in a mansion or going to private high school, college, but you went to, a regular high school and participated and was an athlete and went on to college and graduated, and you have a nice career. Whatever you're doing. You're not a doctor. It's okay. So sometimes we exaggerate what we were taught and modeled. And that's what I wanted to get across to you guys. And we need to talk a little bit about why the law of attraction, like kind attracts like kind of idea. Maybe we've got a distorted idea of who we are and where we came from. So ponder that for a while, meditate on that for a while, and let's see if we can get back together and talk a little bit about it. If you have some comments, by all means, please write them down below in the comments section. I appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel and spread the word and get as many people as we can into this, and maybe we can get it to a point where we can have an open discussion from time to time with people about who they are and how they became the person they are. God bless everybody. Take care of one another. And again, look forward to talking to y'all again real soon. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.